Good evening, gamers. It is time once again to look at another M+ walkthrough. This is the last dungeon, Ruby Life Pool, that we do not have a video about on the channel, as far as I know. And we're just gonna head right into it. It's a 25 Tyrannical with Sanguine and Explosive. I'm gonna try to explain a bit of my defenses usage, a bit more heavy in this dungeon, especially on the bosses. So can kind of have a general idea what I'm pressing. On the first pool here, I'm building like 2 holy power before we head into the pack, ideally 3, and then I just slam a Shield of the Righteous on the first 2 guys, pop my Sentinel, 1 into the pack, and it's like 4 packs we are pulling together here. And then I'm just gonna try to tank for like as long as possible. In a Sentinel here, we are wanting the talent combination where we extend Sentinel, so we have all the bottom keystones at the moment. It is pretty good for Tyrannical, more single target, more time on Sentinel, stuff like that. But yeah, here we are cutting quite a bit around just to make sure that Sanguine doesn't run out of control. Try to use stops on mobs that is kind of low, so you can so it dies off and the rest doesn't have to stand in it while you move a bit away. And you can also play around with the slow and your consecration. It can be a bit dangerous though. Stuff can fuck up and get slowed and it heals quite a bit, so ideally you go without it. Here we're pumping our Sentinel again and kind of chilling on that for solid time. And in front of us there is another Chill Weaver, but we have a pretty bad patrol with the big guy, so we're gonna chill with these guys until he moves, and then we're gonna chain the last Chill Weaver. Because it is Tyrannical, we can chill for fairly long in Sentinel without sending much more, but don't be scared to just pop your Tyr. Like at this point you definitely pop Tyr or Arm Defender. Right now we have the Mercy of our heal pods, or healer for that sake, and Vox, like Word of Glory if we have them ready. But since nothing is really hitting me and we are getting the kicks off, I'm not really using any defensive here, but I have the buttons ready if I need them, the healing ones. Again there I kicked the star, I didn't have to, but it works out, doing a 360 there and making sure the mobs do what I want them to. Here I was considering just taking the mobs and just sending them on to the next mini-boss with the Chill Weaver in front of us, so we didn't have to deal with the patrol there, but the patrol once again was pretty bad. I didn't want to risk chaining that big guy. This big guy, there's one in the beginning also. You can take them if you want to, but when it comes to count and the HP, they're not really efficient. Gonna get back to that in a second. One thing I'm gonna mention here is, if you do this shroud here, this Chill Weaver will always pull because it is doing an event, so you can't really stop it. If you do zap the guy when you're not standing in the water and you do shroud or invis pod past it, it is possible to do it. But what I normally do is just, if the guy isn't there, have just shrouded the big guy, I just pull the Chill Weaver all the time on top of this big guy, and you don't have to really think about people having to stop it and stuff like that. So if you have been in a key and a DH tried to cage or rogue and it's gone wrong, it's usually because they stand in a router doing it, they get too close and they just get in combat with it. But fix, just pull the guy and you're chilling. It will, for some classes, it will be a lot of funnel. Like you saw me pulling the small drakes. There's 3 small drakes to the right, right before we enter this room, and we put this on top of the boss also, just to get funnel from the rogue, so you can do more SG. This works with enhancement Shaman's Tyr, and yeah, the resorter classes also benefits, but enhancement and sub rogue benefits quite a lot from an extra target. Warlock also, actually, yeah. But yeah, we're gonna finish off this guy. We made sure to have some distance between the little guy while we kill it, so we didn't heal the big guy in Sanguine. Don't wanna do that. Here we make sure our healer sits a bit, so you can get some mana. Don't want him to be kind of low on mana in this fight. It's gonna be a long fight. What I'm doing now, I would not recommend doing unless you feel really safe. Have some big defensive fights, because here I'm just like you're out of your consecration and you're kind of running around. This boss hurts quite a lot. And again, I'm only doing this to get funnel for the rogue. I did pop my sentinel and my ardent defender, so I was kind of chilling. Here I'm making sure to not send my bell on pull. If I'm still fighting the mini boss, I'm always like sending the bell. But when I engage the boss, depending on how much people pump, I would never send my bell, because like he's always spotting the smallies, and my bell wouldn't have been up properly. It usually isn't if you send it on pull, and you really need it to just pump it here. Ideally with sentinel, if you have it, you don't have to just overlap another defensive like Tyr and you're chilling. And then you can also sack a player here. Helps quite a lot with the big AoE. And then you have your aggro. Also here for a bit of extra padding, I'm using the electrical potion. It is on cooldown right now. You can see down in the bottom bar where I have my invis and I have my normal primary stat increase potion and my electric also. Ideally I just use the primary stat increased one, because this padding doesn't really matter. It's like you just want to do single target and let the rogue do his funnel. Here we're gonna boss ourselves and just clear some of this. Like most dungeons, I'm running boss on a Tyrannical week, if not all of them. It's so strong, and you can reduce it to like with one more point, you can reduce to 4 minutes. And if you really want to, there's other points you can spend to reduce it even further, if you really need it. But yeah, it's like another pop where you just can run around, just not against physical damage. But this boss is pumping pure magical. She does hit a bit between her attacks, but it is not much. So if you're really struggling on this boss, what you can do is like just have some holy power and don't think too much about your Shield of the Righteous, because she doesn't hit that hard. So you can just one out of Shield of the Righteous and spam heal yourself until you get a defensive up. It's definitely a way to play the boss, because he does so much magical. But here we have the overlap of Baskin, so we're kind of chilling. Here I'm looking to heal a bit. Somebody dropped a bit low. Put Leon hands on the rogue, and we're popping Ardent Defender, so we're sure we do not die. Popping Sentinel here into that. And we're gonna move with this. Get a few more guys to funnel here. Again, I'm in Sentinel. I do have a Vogue ready if I do drop too low. Here I'm still in Sentinel, so I'm sacking the priest. Ready with a Vogue, sending a Tyr, because we have some guys biting us also. If you're about to get too many stacks of the frostbite, the wolves put on you, it's 7 or 8 stack, then you'll get stunned for like 6 seconds. This can be broken by bubble, for example. But if you just see yourself getting kind of high on stacks, just use freedom on yourself and it will remove it. Here again we're bubbling in the end. We don't really have anything else to use it for. If it was fortified, you could use it for some packs upstairs, the dragon for example, but we don't really have anything else before the second boss. So just popping it, so we have other defensives, ideally the ones that does damage, sentinel and Tyr and stuff like that. But for now we're kinda chilling. I'll come quickly while we're flying here. We have a more magic orientated comp. We have the mage buffing the priest and the druids, and because we're doing holy damage, it also gives us, I think, that might be capped to be honest, but yeah, I think we do get a little bit, but I'm not entirely sure on that one. We should actually, technically we should get it, but then we have the priest buff also on all of the guys. Priest always, like whatever spec it is, it's really huge in Tyrannical weeks, because you get the massive benefits of 10% extra stamina, and like depending on the key level you're playing, it will help to permanently have like, you can take like 10% damage reduction permanently, 10% health, it's kind of the same. Always have that going, that's kind of cool. Helps a lot. And then we have the Druid, verse buff, good healing, stuff like that. And then we have the Rogue, which can do some tricks around here and there and stop some of the flame guys. But do the funnel, which is kind of huge on the first boss. But DH would definitely be the better pick for this comp. You could also put a Warlock or some other caster into this comp. Here, popping AD just to make sure we do not get slapped too hard by this. Just finishing it off. Not the worst guy on Tyrannical again. Unfortunately, you would be looking to give out your boss if you have that. And sec, and like what I usually do on a force fight is like sec one guy and pump a little Vog into them, and then they're kind of chilling. The one guy who doesn't get dispelled with the debuff. But here again, heading into this pack. This pack is not a pack you ideally want to chain onto, because we already have Zeus in the Reavers. So next pack we're gonna chain, but here we're just gonna chill. Make sure to kill the stuff at the same time. Ideally, if you can, just try to kill the destroyer first, less damage output, and Sangan shouldn't be a problem in that scenario. So we're gonna have him as our primary target, and then we're just gonna try to steal as many kicks as possible, throwing a shield out with a mouse or a macro. I highly recommend as a Paladin. Here we are sending Tuna, and the Flame Dancer's gonna cast their stuff in a bit here. Just gonna wait to get a stop here. Sending our AD to make sure we do not die, because it hurts quite a lot. If you don't have a defensive up while the Flame Dancers are doing their channel, there's a risk of dying because it hurts so much. Here we have Sentinel warning. No reason to roar there, because you have the bomb from the Flame Dancers, which knocks all of them up. You can kind of see when it lines up. Here again, I should ideally be popping something, but we are in Sentinel and we have healing ready with Pot and Rock, so we're kind of chilling. One guy did hit the floor there. One guy dying, so we're kind of kiting it backwards as much as we can. The packs are a little annoying because of the that one's gonna head off. Just sending a boss and the priest to make sure nobody dies. Mage did proc and a rogue. I think he used shrouds, and a healer was kind of chilling with Barskin. I think he popped. Oh no, he went into bear form. And here we're just gonna head out. Flame Dancer dying off here. Just dodge these swirlies if you do not have anything to purge it. You do have the mage and the rogue who can do it, and we can do it with our Belf, not Bell, but Belf or Blood of Racial. So we're just gonna kill this off and head into the next pack. So far so good, only one death, it's okay. Just gonna take a drink here. Okay, good timing here. The dragon is just about to run. Just make sure you get like kinda into the position where I am now, on the stairs, or up the stairs if you want to be even more safe, because he's gonna fly around and then he's gonna land in the spot to the left there. He's gonna like fly by, so make sure you do not pull him. But yeah, just another small pack. Not much we can chain here, because we afterwards we kind of want to go through and get to the next destroyer pack. So yeah, just killing this off. I think the next we might not even chain, because it's like these packs are, when you're poking them, which this is, they can be a bit brutal, because there's like things that has to be stopped with Flame Dancers. The Cinder Weavers need like 3 kicks in their rotation to make it work, and then you have the Destroyer constantly pumping heavy damage, taking the healer's focus. So yeah, take your time, and if you want to cut more time off this dungeon, ideally just pull more stuff downstairs. Here we can both Mind Soothe the guy to the left, or we can Shroud by. In this situation we're just gonna Shroud and get into the next pack. Pump a Sentinel pretty quickly here. Send a Fusil of the Righteous, make sure we don't have too much holy power, and then we send a Bell and just start pumping the pack. And again, Ideally, you kind of want to have the Cinderio as your primary target, because you have the... Ideally, you have the talent right now, where you throw 3 shells after you do your bell. So that would always be 3 kicks you take, and then you have your own kick, so you can kick like a lot in a row. But to make sure the destroyer cannot die first, here we should do more damage to the Flame Dancer, but you can't do too much. In the end, as a tank again, you're not the primary damage dealer, so you can just take the Cindereaver as your... Oh, okay, we have one guy going for a bit of shenanigans here. It's all good though. Popping 80 here because Flame Dancer is popping off. You can see it hurts quite a bit. Another guy dying here, standing too close, so when it like spins around, in the end it hurts quite a lot. It's like a 3-yard radius, and then you have all the flame patches going out. But just make sure not to stand and meal him off it. So we're gonna finish this guy off, not using defensive here in any form, no reason. If you wanted to use anything, you can use your damage stuff, but save all your defensive stuff, and just make sure to heal yourself if necessary on this pack. You can use your stops though, but since we're heading into it's nerfed a lot, but still a rather interesting boss, you kinda wanna have your CDs ready. And ideally also your offensive, because we're gonna last here in a second. You see the mage has combust ready. The rogue did just send his CDs, but the priest is getting his stuff up, so gonna head into some pump here. Ideally we would have sentinel here, we do not have, so I think I'm gonna play around with AD on the first tier, which is Arden Defender. Gonna spawn the guy, run out, and then we're gonna bait backwards. That bait is also okay, doesn't really matter too much. Gonna go all left around anyway. Ideally as a tank here, you take the first hit. This one, now, so I don't forget, I used Sentinel on the first one to survive that, and used I think I used the pot, and then I spam deal myself a bit, and that was all good. But then we had a really bad bait there. Sometimes it can get a bit awkward when the firestorm dies. Like this is fine. It could have gone bad if it went through or to the mage there, but we were kinda chilling. Here we're gonna pop AD once again, sending our primary power pot and spam healing a bit, ourselves a bit. It is hurting a bit, but we are okay with 2 bucks. Here we're gonna bait. Again, it's not a good bait, but we will survive. Just gonna take the boss here and put him a little further away. Getting into a spot that makes a bit more sense. Not the best, but still. Again, baits are really bad, so like hopefully your group does this better. This group is not making it easy. But yeah, again, make sure you kick the first one. You also have the shield as backups. We use Sentinel and Tyr to survive this one. Here I'm gonna stay a bit, as the rogue also does, to bait the boulder in the back before we move. And here I'm probably gonna move a bit further up, so we are not in a too awkward spot. Just so we have space. Gonna bait the boulder to the side here ideally, and then gonna pump the ad. Yeah, that's more. We have space, so the bait works. But again, we're sending Arden, Guardian, and we are getting external from the healer. Didn't need it, but didn't have to pop anything really then. And again here, you're waiting, and then we're moving. It's a good place to like save your horse for that exact point, because sometimes it is like dying the same time the boulder is coming, and then you can stay and run out of it with your horse. It is a bit risky, but even though you would rather have your horse there. Here we are in Sentinel, might overlapping with AD to be safe, because we still have Bubble as a tool. You can also use Bob if you taunt and use Bob. Then you will get like when the boss hits you, that will not put any stacks on you, since it is physical damage. Might surprise someone, but it is physical. It's kind of like a bleed. Can hear baiting in a good position, but it is a bleed, so you can like taunt the boss and then you can bob. Here we bubble instead. And you can do it like white when it start casting, you taunt and then you bob onto the boss, not that. And then just make sure to have a macro to take bob off, and then you're good. It is a bit risky though, because you do not have aggro on the big ad while this is happening. But if one thing you can do with it is like do a quick tap, like if you have a minor defenses like 2 going, like in this situation. Here I'm getting external, as you can see, from the healer once again, so I'm not using anything else, but you could, with one small defensive, taunt mid bleed like 1-2 stacks, pop up, and then just take it off to at least remove 2 stacks. But yeah, finishing off the buffs, kind of a rough run, but it works out. Hopefully you have a bit better baits in your ones. Just getting them backwards. Sometimes one will go like right in the middle, in the direction you're gonna run, and that's why you kind of want to keep a horse for situations like that, when you move out. And if it happens, just move up. You have so much space, and then just get to a place where you have more space. There's so much space. There's no way you're gonna go all the way around to the fire drake. Like if you did, that's impressive. Let's say it like that. But yeah, gonna try to kill the skull as quick as possible. Don't wanna kill the warriors first, so the skull accidentally, challenger in this case, accidentally heal too much. That wouldn't be fun. And when it's dead, I'm kinda gonna chain it onto the next pack. We have defensives. You have small defensives come up. Yeah, like Warning and Sentinel, kinda chilling. But we wanna make sure that these guys doesn't get healed too much. So I'm kiting, using a few stops, blinding light that just to stop them in their tracks. And this is dead. The kick there, and then we are chilling. Then now you could chain it onto the next pack, because it's so rare that this start does kick. Like it's almost a solo kick. It needs like 2 kicks, and there's another one in the next pack, so it's like 4 kick total. But you can solo one definitely. But to be safe, just finish off the pack, and when the caster is dead, we're moving on to this again. And here we just wanna focus all our damage on the challenger once again, because it is the target that is like a sentry in this lightning storm state. Sacking the priest here. You're in a Tyr, kinda have to pop something soon. We're not even using consecration at this point, which is a bit spicy. Should be popping something soon here. Popping sentry, sentinel now. And throughout the dungeon here, we also trying to get some of the explosive. You can throw your shield on it. Probably seen me do it a couple of times. This one is a pretty bad one, I think. Or we just get it out of it. It's about to get nasty. But you can use your shield on the explosive. If you jump to explosive, take it, and then it will jump onto the other target sounds to do damage, which is one of the few, if not the only, ability that has this effect on explosive, where you're actually able to do AoE, which is kind of nice. Here I'm moving quite a lot around, because I don't want the warrior to start healing this skull. And we good. Here I'm trying to pull some of the small packs while we are doing the packs here, so we don't have to do them afterwards. Just giving the healer a moment. I see like his mana starts ticking up, so I'm gonna start the pull. There's some time to get some more mana, then he will probably stack his huts. And I sack the healer here and pop a sentinel. At the beginning here we're just gonna pump everything, but later on you will see me do some spacing here between the warriors, so we don't risk sanguine healing the boss. White Ren, he soaks all of these small guys. You can pull some extra guys, because there's a long time until that happens again. Do be careful with this. If you're not doing it like at the wrong time, he will get a giant shield unless you can remove them. Yeah, and it's will likely be alright, because it's a big DPS check to get through. And here, moving in a kind of awkward positioning, but just making sure I'm in between the boss and the warriors, like the mini boss and the warriors, because if that started healing the mini boss, that would be a disaster. And here I kind of got hit in the back in my position, but I rather do that and pop extra defensive than it's starting to heal the mini boss. We did have like a racial here I can turn to also remove some of the small guys here through this mini boss encounter, which is really huge. Like right when they all spawn, you can remove them and it's no shield. But we have had some guys going crazy with the spells, so I didn't really have to do that. Here popping Sentinel in the beginning. The boss, I think it just touched Sanguine for a moment there, but it's all good. This guy doesn't, at the moment he's not too rough. If you have a little defensive when he slams, you're okay. You can also take a hit without, but ideally have a little defensive, like just a little sentinel running, whatever, and you're good. Just make sure you're full HP. And in the first phase here, we are talented into 1 minute sex, so we are just making sure if somebody is getting thrown like with that stuff, we are giving them a rock if we can, or a sack for that sake, because we don't want people to burn too much in this first phase. Want them to be ready to get perma flame spit on in the second phase, and then they can use the defensives and then pump, so we don't have anybody dying in Bloodlust and CDs when it gets rough. Here we are moving the boss all the time. What you can do, we could do it a bit better, but try to get them like this man as much as possible on top of the Drake, so you're sure that everybody who has cleave can easily cleave onto the boss. Here we're getting spit on. Should not have moved in this direction because I think the wind is gonna hit downwards from where we came now. So ideally I throw it at the beginning. You can see I'm gonna take a slam here without any defenses other than consecration, but it was still okay. It was actually in the white spot. Yeah, another spit on the healer, just gonna sack him. He's popping something himself also. He's chilling hard. Yeah, I should be getting myself pumped up. I'm ready to take a hit. I am popping Chiro, getting an external, so it does nothing. Now the big stuff happens. What you wanna do here is just taunt the Drake right when he's like on top of the guy. Then you're chilling. Like the small guy, you can throw a hammer on him if you want, but it is the dragon who kills somebody here if you don't have aggro on them. So just taunt the dragon, and then start your DPS rotation or your tank rotation, and you're chilling. Here, really trying to keep the healer alive, spam healing a bit. I was trying to boss him there. I remember, like my bottom kind of bugged out for some reason, but it died really quickly. Giant pump from the guys here. So making this phase kind of easy, and now the dungeon is basically over. Not much happening here. Overlap a few defensives on the hits here, and then just pump some single target. But yeah, I think I went through most stuff in the dungeon. There was something in the beginning, like you can invis or shroud or pre-invis with a war to get through the first big guy of the dungeon. Ideally you don't want to pill him because he's really he's not good to pill. The amount of count, the amount of HP he has, it's not really worth it. And he slaps also quite a bit. But if you expect people to die a lot, it can be a good idea just to kill him. So you're sure that you're not wasting time on people being stuck and having to get risked by defrunning all the time. But yeah, that's the key. Hope you enjoyed this one. We are close to the next season in Dragonfight here. We are like right now at the bolster week, but otherwise we're gonna head into 3 more weeks, and then we're gonna get the next season with some awesome dungeons, at least most of them, and pretty solid weights if you're into that. So since we're through all the dungeons now, there's gonna come out a few more dungeons. We're looking at probably a few high keys. I'm gonna try to get to you some 26s, maybe some 27s. Can't promise anything though. Also going for a little break here before we go ham with the next season. But yeah, if you have any questions for the video or for other contents, make sure to drop them in the comments, and I will see you in the next video.